Well, welcome back to another episode live with IET with Mike C. Listen at me. Welcome back to another episode of Live IET with Mike C. Glad to be with you here again today. We're going to talk a little bit today about this COVID-19 thing again. We're going to talk a little about the NCAA deciding that it is okay for their athletes to come back, basketball and football, to come back and play or to practice rather, starting June 1st. I don't know. I want to know what you think about it. I don't like the idea, but we're going to talk about that in just a few minutes. And then we're also going to talk about some things. Why or how can your house, if you're a homeowner, how your house can make money for you? In just a minute. We'll be right back. Thank you again for joining us, as I said. And this is day 4 of 14 consecutive days of live IET with Mike C. Wilson Roosevelt Germain, one of the longest tenured ever employees of the White House, passed away a few days ago from COVID-19. Mr. Germain served 11 presidents. He was promoted to the position of butler during the JFK presidency and stayed all the way through the Obama administration. So we want to give our condolences to the family of Mr. Germain. He was 91 years old. And I'm wondering, did you guys see the movie The Butler? I'm wondering if it was based on him, on Mr. Germain, the movie The Butler, since he had served so many terms. There was another guy that worked with him who passed away. I don't remember exactly how long ago, but it had to be one of those two guys. It may have been Mr. Germain. Something else, some more news. How many of you know that Black and brown people make up over 50% of the COVID-19 deaths? How many of you know that? 50%, more than 50%. Now, I'm just wondering, I'm not saying, but I am wondering if that is why so many people seem to have such a lackadaisical attitude about this COVID-19 thing. COVID-19 cases in Dallas are up as they are across the country. You can't see this virus, but you can see the parallel between the social distancing or lack of social distancing and lack of people wearing proper PPE and the opportunity for COVID-19 to infect. There is a parallel there. The less that people are using social distancing, the less that they're using the proper PPE equipment, meaning the mask, the gloves, and even eye protection if you're in close proximity of people. The less that they wear that, the more closer they get, the more that this virus tends to transmit and jump from person to person. Matter of fact, the last 24 hours, how you doing, Miss Edwards? The last 24 hours has seen a uplink, a jump in COVID-19. The last 24 hours, I think it was the CCD or CDC has stated that there has been an uptick in the infections of the virus in the last 24 hours, more than we've seen in this country since this thing has been a problem. Now, do you think, is it possible that coincides with every state in the union now is currently open to some degree? I think there's a correlation, but we'll see what happens as states continue to open even more. Did you also know, talking about how there is an uptick in infection of the virus when people do not abide by the 6 foot rule, when people do not wear proper PPE equipment. Did you know first responders have a lower infection ratio than the general public? First responders, the people who are not only arrive there all the time, but the people who actually care for people who have this virus, the doctors, the nurses, they have a lower infection ratio than the average person. Come on, there's got to be a parallel there, some type of correlation. So we have to continue, people, to stay safe. I've been sorry. Um, this thing is not going away. Is it possible that the hot weather it doesn't transmit as much? It's not, the virus itself is not strong during the hot weather. That is possible, but that means that we still have to be aware during the fall months and even now. I saw something else that said that, you know how everybody is wiping down their food when they bring it in from the grocery store, and you wipe down everything in the house all the time. Well, now the CDC is saying that the rate of infection, how the virus is transmitted, that is not as dangerous as person to person. Person to person is still uh, the way that this virus is transmitted more time than not. So I'm not going to tell you not to wipe your stuff down, but what they're saying, what the experts are saying, is that it's not as much of a concern as the virus being transmitted from person to person. Now, as you see, I'm trying something new here today. So stick with me. What I'm trying today is I'm trying to be like they are on the news. I got my notes, and I'm trying to use my notes so I don't go on rabbit trails. I talked to a few friends of mine yesterday after they had watched the show, and it seemed like maybe I went on rabbit trails a little bit. So I got my notes, and I'm trying to stay on par. I got something else for you. I told you guys I have this thing called Ecamm Live, and Ecamm Live is what makes going live so easy and so much fun. I'm not saying it's easy yet. Okay, I'm not saying that, but it's easier and fun. And I mentioned earlier how black folk and brown folk make up most of the deaths when it comes to COVID-19. They have some figures in New York. Let me show you this real quick. This is primarily for New York City, as you can see down there, New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. And basically what it's showing is showing the non-hospitalized, non-fatal hospitalized, and known to have died. These are the numbers. And when you look at that, what you see is that black African Americans are leading the way in all of those areas, including the number of deaths. So there's some figures for you, and you can see this thing has not gone away, and it's not going to go away. So stay safe. Continue to follow good hygiene. Wash your hands often. Do all of that stuff, man. People are still, look, there are now, to date, over 92,000 people in this country alone have died from COVID-19. Over 300,000 people across the world, across the planet, have died from COVID-19. Over 320,000. That's nothing to play with. Nothing at all. So stay safe, man. Stay safe so people don't have to feel sorry for you. Let's talk a little bit sports. Okay, that's going to be the entertainment aspect of today's show, sports. The NCAA is allowing college football and basketball players to resume on-campus practices without coaches or trainers. It's really not funny. You know what the NCAA is all about, right? That dollar, that dollar. California enacted a policy last year where college athletes are going to start getting paid. And of course, the NCAA does not like that because that's going to affect their bottom dollar. What do you think about that? Give me some comments and let me know what you think about the NCAA allowing its athletes for football and basketball to come back and practice starting June the 1st. Now, look, that's here's the thing about it, okay? They already have done it in soccer. They already have done it in motorsports here in this country. NASCAR had their first race this past weekend. And then soccer, they've already started playing soccer. And I can't fault the players. I have to fault the people that are in charge. They're the ones that are responsible. They showed highlights of the soccer game, someone made a goal, and what did they do? What they always do. What they always do is they always hug each other and praise each other for that. You know what I'm saying? So there's no thing as 6 foot distance there. They're not following it because it's difficult. Why even put them in that position? Why put these college athletes in a position to get this virus? So if it happens, I'm faulting the NCAA. If guys come back together, do you think that they're going to come back together and practice and they're going to stay 6 feet away? If you've been watching television, you've seen how young folks right here in the Dallas area, actually in Fort Worth, over the weekend also, they had hundreds, if not thousands of kids got together. None of them were 6 feet apart. And what was the other place? I think it was somewhere in Florida, Orlando. They were not 6 feet apart. So why are you putting these kids in the position to do this? Because that's what they're going to do. They're not going to stay 6 feet away. So that's just my perspective. I don't think the NCAA should be doing it, and I do believe that it's all about the money for them. It's all about that mighty mighty dollar. Let me know what you think. I got some other stuff for you here. So as you can see, what I'm doing with this vlog is I'm taking you along with me on this journey. I told you how about the other day how I had some problems right after the show and all the way up until about 30 minutes for the next day's show, which was yesterday. And it's been a learning experience for me. It's been a very good, very positive learning experience. Something I've learned is, and I mentioned this before, just do it. Just do it. You can't allow obstacles to stop you from what you're supposed to be doing and what you really want to do. Just do it. So I've got you on this journey with me. This is all a part of this aspect of my life right now, what's going on. And I call this aspect of my life, as I said, just do it. How many times have you been inspired to do something? Maybe you had a vision, maybe an epiphany, maybe someone encouraged you in some form or fashion to do something. Maybe it was something you just wanted to do. Maybe for me, and if you know me, if you wait a minute, we got a comment. So let me see. Ms. Edwards says NCAA does not keep players' best interest at heart. It's up to the players to stand their ground and wait it out. I agree with you there that the NCAA doesn't care. They don't have the best interest of the athlete at hand, obviously. But these players, you're talking about young men. And I remember when I was young, I remember hearing people talk about, what's that saying? It's been in movies and in books. Uh, um, Youth is wasted on the young. I remember hearing that, and I remember hearing people say that when you're young, you think that you're invulnerable. You know, there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that too. So thank you for your comment, and I agree with you. But I think it's not just up to the kids; it's up to the parents. Um, I think even the coaches should be protesting this. I think the coaches should be doing something about this as well. But I think it's wrong for the NCAA to leave it up to the kids because they're kids. They're young. They're gonna more times than not they're gonna make wrong decisions, bad decisions. And that's why we're there. That's why the adults are there, is to help them and to guide them through the whole process. So, as I was saying, don't wait. Look, let me share this with you. I have a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, and about 5 years ago, he started saying something to me. He started saying, "Cleve, man, we got more days behind us than we do ahead. So let's make the best of what we got left." And I'm telling you, man, he did that. His name was Mike Daly. Mike Daly. That was my boy, my dude, Mike Daly. Mike not only said that, Mike lived that. He started living his best life. Everybody didn't agree with it, but Mike was happy. Mike was doing Mike. And he wasn't, I mean, he started putting together a documentary. I think he probably got about 95% complete with the documentary. He's written books. He's put together albums. He did an album with Cornel West and had all kind of big names on there as guest artists. But Mike did it. So let me encourage you. Don't wait. Just do it. Because that's what I've been doing. I've been on that. I've just been doing it. When I started doing this vlog, there were some things that I thought, oh well, I might have to wait, you know. But you got to just do it. I really felt as though the Lord was talking to me and saying, I got you. Just do it. I knew there was some equipment that I was going to need still that I still didn't have. So I just took the step and I just did it. And guess what? Everything I need, I had within a week. The Lord made a way. So I just want to encourage you to just do it. Whatever it is, man, plant that garden. Take that trip. Not necessarily right now, but when this thing lifts, take that trip. Go on that trip. Just do it. Take a class. Mend a broken relationship. Start a business. Whatever your goal, your vision, your desire, as long as it's not immoral, illegal, or dangerous, or against the will of God. If it's not either of those things, then just do it. Look, I didn't and I still don't know everything about vlogging, about podcasting, about web pages. I don't know everything about social media. I'm learning daily. I have myself on a budget. So that makes it, what would you say? It's not always easy to do everything, but it'll happen if you just do it. And I guess what happened, everything I needed was made possible for me, like I said. So whatever it is, don't look back and say, man, I wish I had done it. I bet you've done that already in some things. I'll bet that there are some things that you can look back on now and say, I should have just done it. I wish I had done it. It may be an idea that you had and you didn't do it. And guess what? Somebody else did it. And you say, wow, that was my idea. But you didn't do it. So it was no longer your idea. Just do it. Mike Daly, this is to you, my brother. I miss you. You see, Mike was tragically killed about a year and a half after he was telling me, please, just do it. So Mike is a lot of inspiration for me now to continue to just do it. Mike did it. He did it, y'all. And he was successful and he was happy. That's the main thing. My brother was happy. He was happy. So let me encourage you. Don't let anything stop you. Don't let anyone stop you. Do like Mike did. Just do it. Anybody got a comment about that? Um, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what you can expect in the future shows because in just doing it, and I found that that's what happens too, in just doing it, things still come to me. I haven't finished the plan with IET with Mike C yet. Something that came to me this morning was this. I've shared with you before that I also have MIH. Make it happen with Mike C. Make it happen with Mike C, as I said before, was primarily designed to help people in the music business. Um, but now, MIH, make it happen, that can be any aspect of your life. So what we're going to do is we're going to have IET with Mike C, information, entertainment, and truth. And we're going to actually have MIH in certain aspects of that. So make it happen could be one of the things I teased about at the beginning of the show was if you own a house, how your house can make money for you. So MIH will sponsor that. MIH, make it happen. We'll show you how to make that happen for yourself. MIH, it might be technology. Like I said, man, the technology that I currently have to create this show for you is technology that maybe even 5 years ago, well, I know it didn't exist 5 years ago, but what this does, this allows me to make myself look like my own television network. There is so much that I can do with Ecamm. There's so much that I can do with TubeBuddy. I'll tell you guys more about all of that stuff in a segment of Make It Happen. But Make It Happen is going to be the teaching aspect of IET. So that's what we're going to do with MIH, with Make It Happen with Mike C. We're going to show you how to make it happen. Make it happen could be maybe you are somebody I think I said this in another show earlier this week. Maybe you're someone who's moved to another town and you want to know, you want to find a church for yourself. MIH will make it happen with Mike C. We'll tell you how to find a church. We'll tell you what to look for, things to look for in a church. And I'll just give you this tidbit. It starts with the leadership. It starts with the leadership. Okay? And I got that from John MacArthur. So we'll talk a little bit more about that and my age later on. But man, time's almost up already. I really am glad that you joined us again today. And I want to remind you, if you haven't yet, subscribe. If you haven't yet, hit that bell looking thing, because what that will do is every time we have a show or getting ready to have a show, whether it's live or just a regular show, that bell will inform you and let you know that we're coming on. Now, again, what this is right now is this is 14 days consecutive, okay? 14 consecutive days. And it's all designed, again, to promote the vlog, which will launch on June 1st. Now, when we launch on June 1st, our episodes will be just once a week, okay? And we'll do some live stuff. Maybe we'll be out at an event and we'll do some live stuff, but most of our programs after June 1st will be once a week and they will not be live. But unless you guys let me know that you are really enjoying this and you want more live, then we'll do more live. We'll go with whatever you guys want. So remember, subscribe, like, and hit the bell. And also make a comment. Let me know that you're there, like Miss Edwards did. Thank you, Miss Edwards. Give us a comment. I'm going to have some guests come on starting next week. Talked to my boy on the phone last night, Dave Tolliver with Men at Large. Dave's going to come on. Maybe Dave might come on Saturday, actually. And I got some other folks that are going to come on. My boy Cedric Singleton is over in Africa right now, so I forget what the time difference is. But Cedric's doing some big things in Africa. And we're going to bring Cedric on and let Cedric talk about what's going on in Africa. He'll talk about COVID-19, let you know. Have you heard anything about Africa and COVID-19? It's not that it's not there, but it's just not as big as it is here. Matter of fact, it's nowhere as big, nowhere in the country, in the world rather, as it is in the United States. The United States is leading with COVID-19, with infections, with death. There's no country in the world that has had as many infections and as many deaths as the U.S. has, including China, where, as far as we know right now, that's where the first case came from, with China. But China hasn't been affected. It hasn't had the number of deaths or the number of infections as America. And why is that? A lot of people are saying that. Matter of fact, I saw something else that said that had United States put in the 6-foot order and stay home just 2 weeks earlier, we probably would have had at least 36,000 fewer deaths. 36,000. So I wonder again in the fall, are we going to be looking back and saying again, we could have prevented death had we just followed this thing? Look, right now, you've got a rift between the federal government, the White House, and the healthcare experts. There's a rift there. The churches are not supposed to be having service right now still. A lot of places are open. Restaurants are open, although I think they have a capacity of like 25% at most restaurants. They're not supposed to go over that. But churches are still not supposed to be having service. Um, and they're going to release that, with my understanding, the end of the month. But I'm going to tell you, I'm still not going to church. I'm still going to be viewing church on my computer, on my television. Although the church I go to in Dallas, Plano, is called One Community Church. Check it out if you get a chance. Um, Pastor Conway Evers. I love my church home. But what they're going to start doing this weekend is they're going to start having service in the parking lot. They're still going to put everything online. They're still going to have virtual church service, but they're going to allow people to come into the parking lot, stay in their cars, and watch service from the parking lot. And what they're saying there is people just miss each other. People want to be able to see each other. So you can be sitting in your car and you can wave at people that you haven't seen in a while. They can see you. You can see them. As my parents used to say, they can put eyes on you. As a parent, that's what you want to do with your children from time to time. Is you just want to be able to put eyes on them. So that's what they're going to do at my church. So come back tomorrow. Tell somebody about it. Make a comment. And God bless you. Stay safe. This is your boy, Mike C, right here at IET with Mike C. Until tomorrow, you know what to do. Make it happen.